Welcome back to another episode of Life, Recovery, and the Pursuit of Sanity. My name is Josh Logan. Thank you for joining me today. This is take number 467. I just pulled that number out of my butt. I don't really know what take it is, but I've done a lot of these so far, and I didn't like them. So this is the next one. Hopefully this is the right one, the one that is going to be the winner, the one that I'm going to upload. We will see, though. All right. This one is a good one. Well, at least for me, it's a good one, but it's a touchy subject. It is a subject that we actually really do need to talk about. It is a subject that really isn't talked about except in a negative light. And it is a subject that affects boys and men all across at least the United States. And I'm pretty sure probably some other countries as well. And the subject is toxic masculinity. If you guessed it, you're a winner. So, what is toxic masculinity? Now, I had to write some of this stuff down because I couldn't keep it in my brain long enough, and I just fumble over my words, and hence that's why this is taking me so many different takes, and I get stuck in my head and all that stuff. And I might just edit this out, but I might not. Who knows? So, I had to look this one up online, and it goes a little something like this. Toxic masculinity is cultural pressures for men to behave a certain way, and some people's idea of manliness promotes domination, homophobia, and aggression. So why is this a bunch of malarkey? That's what we're going to call it. Why is it? Because I really don't believe this definition is in any way, shape, or form accurate. If this is not something that should ever be attributed to the normal men of society or the normal boys of society. This can be attributed to some of the more extreme cases, and that's really what it needs to be. We can't be appropriating normal masculine behavior as toxic just because certain people don't like the way that boys act naturally. And so one of the real reasons why I believe it is a lie is that it fails to expose the real reason why boys and men act in their stupid ways. From my experience, a boy needs a father. And I'm not talking about a sperm donor. I'm talking about somebody that in their life that can guide them, that can direct them, that can speak openly with them, that doesn't put unnecessary expectations on this boy, that allows him to feel the way that he feels and then guide him into how that man has learned to be a masculine man. Because a lot of this stuff, domination, that is just hardwired into men, which is why you see boys doing the things that they do at an early age. If you really want to see unbridled masculinity, watch a 5-year-old boy. They want to roll around in the dirt. They want to fight each other. They want to pretend kill each other. They're aggressive. They take massive amounts of risk that most parents don't want them to take. Climbing super high in trees and just doing some crazy things. And that's just unbridled masculinity. That's just a man or a boy doing what is natural to them. Now, a lot of times, a lot of boys grow up without a good representation of what being a man is, whether it be death, divorce, whether it be an absent father, whether it be an abusive father. There's just a lot of things that go into these little boys never being able to learn how to harness that unbridled masculinity, to harness it and use it for good, because that's what a true man is called to do. Love his wife, guide his family, love his children, show his boys how to respect a woman, all the while not becoming a doormat, all the while supporting his family, whether it be financially, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And so what we've ended up with is a bunch of soft men raising a bunch of soft boys. And I use the word soft not necessarily as a jab, because these videos that I'm doing are never meant to hurt people's feelings. They're meant to, bring questions up in your own mind, start a conversation so that we can actually start learning and living out these principles that are so often lost. You know, my kids watch this show called The Thundermans. And if you watch a whole lot of kid shows, even adult shows, what you end up finding is you finding emasculated men. So this dad, even the son, in this show, The Thundermans, the dad's kind of an idiot, you know. Yes, he is the leader of the house, but he's kind of a moron. Really, it's, you know, according to this show, the mom is actually the one running the family. She's the one that's the smart one. She's the one that figures it all out. But then you even have, you know, like the kids. They're always outsmarting the parents. They're always, it really just kind of paints this picture that A, parents are stupid, and B, that the man is just some fat slob that is just a complete moron. And thank God he has a wife, because holy crap, if he didn't have his wife, everything would be going to crap. And to a certain degree, that is true, because in my experience, women raising boys, it's difficult, because there's certain things that boys need to learn from a father figure or a father like mentor that you're never going to learn from just a woman. And it doesn't matter. She could have the best of intentions, and most of the moms that I know do. So if you're a mom out there and you're in this situation where you're raising boys by yourself, I'm not attacking you. I understand that you are doing the best that you can with the hand that was dealt you. Let's reverse the roles, okay? So having just a dad raising kids doesn't allow for the kids to have the feminine side, the nurturing, the caring, that other side of the picture that men obviously lack. And it's not a bash on men. We just lack it. You know, we're fixers. We just pull up our bootstraps. Let's just get her done. There's a problem. Let's solve it. But for women, they respond differently. And so it does take a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, feeding into boys and girls to give them the best possible picture of how to embrace who they are. masculine or feminine. So what can we do to help raise our boys to be the masculine man that they need to be? Well, I'm going to take it from one of the books that has changed my life, my perspective as a husband, as a father, as a man, as how I interact with people. And this is probably one of the best books out there if you're struggling to find out who you are in those areas. And it's called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. And I will link that actually down in the description below so that you can have access to it as well. And so we need to teach our boys. And this isn't just telling them what to do. This is showing them what to do. So teach our boys to have a strong sense of self, to like himself just the way he is. And that's a hard one right there, because a lot of us don't really know who we are. Our identity is with a lot of other things, whether it be with your identities in your kids, or your identity is with your job, or your identity is with your church, or your identity is with all these different things, as opposed to you being who you are and being okay with who you are, just the way that you are, flaws and all. Teach our boys to take responsibility to get their needs met. Now, having said that, there is, to a certain degree, that the parents' responsibility is to meet the needs of our kids. That is our responsibility as parents. However, there are certain things that we can do to teach our kids to take responsibility to get their own needs met. For one, like maybe not buy them a phone when they're 14 freaking years old, or 11. I know kids that have phones that their parents pay for with data and everything at like 10 or 11 years old. In my mind, it's like, oh my gosh, are you freaking kidding me? But I mean, I guess to each their own. I don't do that. I actually teaching my kids, my wife and I made the decision together that if they want a phone, that's fine, but they will pay for it. They would pay for the plan. They would pay for the phone itself. And if they can't afford the phone that month, then we'll just turn off the service for that month until they can pay it. And lo and behold, it has taught our kids the value of money, And so, and I really believe that small little act of having our kids pay for their own phone has really taught them to value the things that they do have, and also to take responsibility for the things that they want and or need. We also need to teach our boys to be comfortable with their masculinity, to not be ashamed of their masculinity, and not be ashamed and be comfortable with their sexuality. And that one is difficult for a lot of people. Especially in a day and age where pornography is only a click away. And it's like, when you're watching the TV, it's all over the place. Everything's sexualized. Everything is either painted to be really good or really bad. And, there's not a whole lot of truth being told out there. And the devastation that can cause a boy or a man that is addicted to pornography is huge. It's catastrophic. And we need to teach our boys that the sexuality part is actually good. It's what we do with that sexuality that can be bad, and so we need to honor women. We don't want to objectify a woman and her body, because a woman is way more than the physical appearance of what may turn a man on. And that's really difficult, because we live in a society that paints it as, if you're good looking, if you're popular, if you are skinny, if you're this and this and this and this, then you're amazing. And that's not the way that the real life is. Okay? Teach our boys to have integrity, to do what is right, not expedient. And so I've heard, this is probably the best things that I've heard, that integrity is what you do behind closed doors. Doing what is right in the face of the easy way. Teaching our kids how to be honest, even though being honest when you make a mistake may not actually get you the results that you want, because a lot of times it doesn't. If you do something stupid, there's consequences. Just because you're honest doesn't mean that you're absolved from consequences. And that's one of the things that a child, and this is men and women, they learn real quickly that I can get out of trouble if I lie, not fully understanding the idea that lying promotes distrust. Distrust is one of the big things that breaks relationships apart. And so having integrity, teaching our kids to have integrity, teaching our boys to be a leader, and to teach them to provide for and protect those he cares about. And that's a difficult one, you know, and I go back to like my middle son. He is in a relationship, and it's really kind of a cool thing. I'm not going to say his name. Some people already know, but he's in a relationship with the girl, and I asked him what was going on with him and his relationship, you know, and he told me, and I'm like, oh damn, ooh, you think you screwed up, man? And so he was like, oh no, and I was able to guide him because of the things that I've gone through, because of my experiences. I was able to guide my son into making a good decision within that relationship. And I personally believe that it's kind of transformed that relationship. I believe that he's appreciative because he did follow what I had said, that I didn't say guidelines, but I encouraged him to do certain things, and he did, and the results were good. And not all the time are the results going to be good, but if you can be a good learner and a good listener, then you can learn these things. And you know, it's teaching your kids how to lead, teaching the boys how to be clear, concise, and direct, and expressive in their feelings. That is probably one of the biggest things, because when we get our feelings hurt, we don't want to expose ourselves any more than we already feel like we have. If we get our feelings hurt, then it's like our natural reaction is to bottle up. It's to close off. It's to protect ourselves. And a lot of times that has way more negative outcome than if you were to be like, hey, listen, this actually kind of hurt my feelings. I didn't like it when this happened, or when you said this, I felt like this. And if we can teach our boys to do this in relationships. Now, having said that, you know, there are certain circumstances when you don't, like when you're in abusive relationships, or even if you're just encountering a complete stranger, you're not going to open yourself up to that person and expose yourself like that. There's wisdom that comes with that, you know, and that's, as a parent, what we need to teach our kids is the wisdom with expressing ourselves. But in a relationship, in a family, in relationship with the significant other, expressing our feelings in clear, concise, direct ways. Oh my gosh, I can tell you right now that my kids have witnessed. I've said some stupid stuff before. I've pissed my wife off, and this, you know, like I I continue to do stupid things. Let's just face it, you know. I make these videos, and I don't want anybody to ever think that I have gone to the point where I don't make any of these mistakes. I'm right in it. But I'm learning. I'm growing as a dad, as a husband, and as a person in general. And so, but when I was able to clear, concise, expressive of my feelings, a lot of things changed. I no longer felt or put it off on my wife that she was the person in the wrong, or we were able to have a conversation regardless of whether she said something that hurt my feelings or I said something that hurt her feelings. A conversation was able to be had about that, and we could work through it, as opposed to having a knockout brawl out for 3 days, not talking to each other, and then barely talking about it, and you just kind of like brush the feelings up underneath the rug. And my kids see this stuff. They see how to interact, and I tell my kids, what's on your mind? All right, this is what I see. How about you tell me what's going on, and then we can work it out. And I really believe that it's really changed how we interact as a family, and also how they interact with other people in this world. Almost done. 2 more after this, but we need to teach our kids to be nurturing. Let me just make sure I got that. Nurturing and giving without caretaking or problem solving. So what this really means is that nurturing and caring, nurturing and giving means that we are doing this out of something that is needed. We're not doing it to receive. So this is where a lot of times people go wrong. So my wife comes home from work. She's had a rough day. She's telling me about this rough day. And in my mind, do this, and all your problems are going to go away. In the reality, no, that's not the way that it works out. But I can listen to her. And then later on, after she's done, I could say, do you want my advice? Is it okay if I tell you my thoughts? And then she could say yes or no. Because it's not up to me just to be like, well, do it this way, shut up about it, I'm done listening to you. Because that's what happens a lot of times. We as men are problem solvers. We're fixers. We want to fix things. And it is okay to not have a solution for everything that goes on in this world. It is okay to be a nurturing person, to care and give to other people, as long as it's not with ill intentions. We don't give to get. We give out of an abundance of what is inside us already, not so that we can get something in return later. We've kind of talked about that one before in my covert contracts video. If you haven't watched that one, I'll link it up here or up here, whichever side it's going to be on, I'll link it up there. So last one, knows how to set boundaries. So we need to teach our boys how to set boundaries and not be afraid to work through conflict. Boundaries is a big deal. A boundary is a guideline that we need to set, saying, this is all the further that you're going to be allowed to do to me. If somebody talks bad about me or to me, a good boundary would be like, you're not going to talk to me like that. And it doesn't have to be something that I'm aggressive, that I push. It's just saying, you're not allowed to talk to me like that. And then I walk away. And then maybe we can come visit it later, because I'm not afraid of dealing with conflict. As a matter of fact, I kind of like conflict a little bit too much. I'll be honest. I thrive on it, which can be a bad thing. So I try to pick my battles wisely. And with the help of my lovely bride, she has helped me do that and get better at choosing my battles and also maintaining boundaries. And so as parents, as a dad, teaching my boys how to have boundaries, how to set limitations, and also how to not be afraid to work through conflict, they can go through life not bowing out or just, oh, I'm not going to mess around with that because it's not going the way that I want. Or because how often do we think that we know the end result of a situation, or somebody's going to say a certain thing, or something, this is going to happen a certain way, and so then we just don't even mess around with it. We don't even try. And we never know. Or we go into it and we make a bad situation worse by not properly dealing with it in a clear, concise, expressive way. And so there's a lot of stuff, and there's way more that I could really go into, but I want to bring this video to a close, because this is a lot of thought-provoking things that we need to do to raise boys into men so that they can be strong and powerful and courageous and not afraid of dealing with conflict and not afraid of their masculinity and not afraid of their sexuality, so that they can go into this world and have relationships that are healthy, that are satisfying, that are expressive of who they are, and they can thrive. Again, I thank you for watching this video. This has been a good one. Please share it. Please give it a like. Consider subscribing. And I will see you in the next video. So my hat's off. I don't even have a hat. I should probably go get a hat, but I'm not gonna, because then I have to stop the video. And this might be another take. I don't want to do that. I just want this video to be the one that I upload, and probably gonna make some cuts, because it's a touchy subject, but it's a subject that needs to be talked about. And so what's the roles? So if I say, somebody says, hey, I need help moving, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll help you for an hour. And that's a bad one. Boundary. All right. So